with the usual way that things proceed in the United States Air Force, it was decided soon after my class graduated that lieutenants were too inept to fly the A-1 Skyraider, and so they threw us all out. And basically, everybody that had gone through Skyraider school that was a recent graduate of pilot training was summarily executed or thrown out. And I wound up trying to get another airplane. Got an OV-10 Bronco, also at Herbert Field, went through school there. And after that, I had my choice of where I wanted to go as a forward air controller in the Air Force, so I chose Nakhon Phanom, Thailand, NKP, which is the same location of where the A-1 Skyraiders were. Why? Well, again, I knew most of the guys that I'd gone through A-1 school with, and I also thought maybe there's a glimmer of hope of being able to fly the Skyraider again, so off I went. 24 years old, 1970, here I am reporting for duty as a nail fac. Let's talk about the OV-10 just for a minute, if you're not familiar with it. Twin turboprop engines, a very good airplane, carried a lot of stuff, believe it or not, mostly fuel, and was used primarily for the forward air control role for the United States Air Force. 147 were built for the Air Force. There were smaller numbers built for both the Navy and the Marine Corps. Both Navy and Marine Corps used them in combat as active counter-air support airplanes. A picture of one from the Air Force Museum. This is exactly the way it was configured by the nail facs in NKP. 300-gallon centerline tank, 4 machine guns and those little sponsons off the bottom of the fuselage, and 4 basic Laos 59 rocket pods underneath that. The rocket pods were for smoke or for HE. It was a very highly technical airplane. No GPS, no INS, no nav systems, no nothing. So we had a TACAN in it, that was it. Worked very well, however. Round instruments, switches, there was nothing digitized in an airplane of that era whatsoever. All right, so at NKP, the majority of the air war, and many of my cohorts here today who fought it, we fought our air war in the country of Laos. Now, if you're going to film Jurassic Park again, Laos would be a good place, all right? It's nothing but triple canopy jungle, high karst mountains, as you can see here, waterfalls, high mesas, no roads, no cities, no people, no nothing. I mean, it was basically crude. That's what you can say about Laos. A couple of pictures of what it looks like. It looked like this in 1970. It looks like this today. Nothing has changed in Laos, okay? There was no infrastructure, no paved roads, no railroads, no freeways, only dirt roads and low water crossings, not a bridge in the place to speak of, okay? So why were we in such a place? I mean, everybody thinks, well, you were in Vietnam, you obviously went to North Vietnam, you did a lot of work in South Vietnam. Not so much in my time frame. In my time frame, the entire air war was fought over Laos. Why? Because that was the home of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. Now, when I say Ho Chi Minh Trail, to most people, they think of the Appalachian Trail. Ah, some happy backpackers walking along the road, you know. It's a trail in the jungle. It was a massive infrastructure of dirt roads and other things to support the trucking of supplies from Hanoi all the way down to South Vietnam for the air war, or to support the ground war in South Vietnam. Now at that time, politically, Russian and Warsaw Pact ships could sail right into Haiphong Harbor, take off the war materials to support the war against the Americans in the South. They were loaded into trucks. Little problem, the North Vietnamese couldn't drive it across the DMZ and down into South Vietnam. If you take a look at this map, you'll see that North Vietnam and South Vietnam are the green portions of it. Off to the left-hand side, the tan portion is the country of Laos, and beyond that, Thailand. And the red lines represent the Ho Chi Minh Trail, which basically turned right directly into Laos, where they went into the neutral country of Laos with virtually no government, no nothing, and they built this massive Ho Chi Minh Trail infrastructure that went down there. Then they turned left and went through the passes in the Annamite Mountains directly into South Vietnam, where they would deliver the goods. To that end, we built all kinds of Air Force bases there. These are the majority ones in Vietnam. We built 6 of them in Thailand. The one we served at Nakhon Phanom is right there on the banks of the Mekong River, very close to the Ho Chi Minh Trail and North Vietnam. That's why it was there.
How close?
Well, it was, I would say it was about 90 nautical miles to the heart of the trail, probably, and maybe 200 nautical miles into the heart of Vietnam. You agree with me, guys? Roughly that. So close around. Ho Chi Minh Trail was 700 miles long, and again, it was a parallel series of roads, dirt tracks, and trails highly organized, broken up into 15-mile segments, okay? There were at least 3,000 trucks on the trail at one time. Now, we didn't know this when we were there. Nobody told us a lot about it. We just kind of went to work every day. And it's taken me a long time to piece a lot of this history together and exactly how it worked. But that's what the intel guys say, about 3,000 trucks on that trail every day and every night. The trucks drove at night, obviously. They're not going to drive in the height of the daylight where we could see them and bomb them. And at night, they'd hunker down into camouflage places and spider holes where the drivers would go to protect themselves from the bombing. The segments were called bintroms. A driver would drive only one bintrom. So he would drive 10 to 15 miles a night, and then he'd be deadheaded back to the top, pick up another truck, and drive the same one. So he knew every square inch of that trail, and he could drive it without lights, knew where all the hidey holes were, and knew what to do when we started wreaking death and destruction on his head. Lots of bulldozers for repairs, lots of dedicated people. They kept that cargo moving. When we would take out a low water crossing, or in this case a temporary bridge, that same night they just bypass it. There you go, they get the bulldozers out, and the next day off they go again. At nighttime, they would monitor our radios. They had all of our strike frequencies on there. We weren't too bright about that. They'd monitor the radios. They had a series of red and green lights in the entire route structure of the Ho Chi Minh Trail. And the minute they heard that shark bait flight was coming into Ban La Boy and was going to work with a FAC out there, they'd turn on the red lights. The trucks would stop and dive into hidey holes, and that's how they survived. These are contemporary pictures of the trail, which I'll show you some more, but basically complete fuel pipeline that ran down the whole thing and fuel storage tanks in a cave. So they didn't have to worry about POL. They had all the gasoline they needed, and it was a highly organized route structure, which we didn't really know that much about, quite frankly. Okay. And as you can imagine, North Vietnamese wanted to protect these assets, which they did through Russian guided missiles, essentially the same structure, and radar-operated big guns. So the opposition to us when we try to bomb the trucks on the trail, I could say, was savage at best. All right. So how do we prosecute the air war against the thing? Well, here's an F-4 doing its thing. I want to remind you of a couple of numbers that I picked up, and these are absolutely true because I got them off the internet. Okay. Central Germany, 9,088 millimeter anti-aircraft guns protected the Berlin and up through central Germany in World War II. The trail had over 10,000 23, 37, 85 radar ZPU force. There were a lot of guns on that trail, more than in central Germany in World War II. Okay. World War II, we dropped 4.3 million tons of bombs total in World War II. That's a lot of bombs. So how many we dropped on the Ho Chi Minh Trail? 3 million tons of bombs, okay? And for those of you that were there, you know we dropped a lot of bombs. These are pictures taken of the Ho Chi Minh route structure from about 5,000 feet. You'll see the green foliage in the background. The tan part is where we've completely blown the jungle away. It's nothing but craters, sand pits, and what remains. To the right, that F-4 is over Ban La Boy, the Dog's Head, for those of you who remember that. The McNamara, I'll call them administration, but the DOD under McNamara decided that the way to handle the Ho Chi Minh Trail was to pick out certain choke points and to bomb those choke points once a day, once a night, every day, and just bomb them into impunity. Well, you know, if you're any kind of farmer at all, you know when you bomb a dirt road, you know, you're making more building materials essentially, right? But that's what they did, day and night, day and night, day and night, on interdiction points, Alpha Box, Bravo Box, Charlie Box, Ban La Boy, Ban Ravine, Ban Phanab, you guys know them, okay? The only problem was, if we went to the same place every day to bomb dirt roads, then General Giap, who was running the defense, simply concentrated his guns in those places. So they became more than dangerous, as you guys all remember. And again, another picture taken, this time about 3,000 feet. Those are karst mountains. That's a river that's running through one of the Alpha Boxes out there. Those are bomb craters. That's not the surface of the moon. That's what the boxes look like from the air. Okay.